an El Nino weather event has begun.
It's official. NOAA's declaring El Nino is here.
The world is heading into uncharted climate territory.
Basically, with El Nino, we have a high probability for this temperature to be one of the warmest on record.
The UN following the US in declaring an El Nino weather event, warning we're all in for 12 months of intense weather.
A bit of concern, probably slightly more,
yes,
more than
that.
We really need to be as ready as possible right now.
For Australia, El Nino brings hotter, drier conditions, increasing our chances of droughts, heat waves, bushfires, coral bleaching. And it's happened 5 times in the last 2 decades.
Reading these El Nino reports coming in, it causes a growing tightness in my chest, because living through the drought, experiencing those heat waves, the dust storm, drying landscape, it really is anxiety-inducing.
The average global temperature on Monday topped 17 degrees, the hottest day on record. The UN warning world leaders to mobilise plans to protect people from potential El Nino impacts. But our Weather Bureau is yet to RSVP to this weather event.
And that's because they use different thresholds and criteria to actually determine whether they can declare it.
The set of indicators we have used haven't passed threshold as yet. The Bureau has gone to an El Nino alert at the start of June, which is really signalling that there's probably about a 70% chance by our metrics of an El Nino event occurring before summer.
El Nino or not, the Bureau's seasonal forecast spells struggling times for those living on the land.
We're now looking at a summer of below average rainfall and possibly heat waves and bushfires.
Farmers are on the front lines of a changing climate and extreme weather events, and that's because we live and work so closely with the natural world.
So what should we be doing now to say El no thank you to another ferocious fire season?
Here to help us answer that, former New South Wales Fire Commissioner and current member of the Climate Council, Greg Mullins, joins us. Greg, you've been on the front lines of a lot of El Nino events. What is it like?
Look, when you have an El Nino, usually it means hotter, drier. So when those bushfire conditions come along, it just makes things more extreme. So we're going from 3 years of very wet, and it's really likely that we'll go straight back into a serious bushfire season.
Now, if this does end up being the most extreme El Nino event we've ever seen, what are we in for?
Well, look, it's on the cards that this could be a super El Nino because the driver is ocean temperatures and they're at record levels. If we have a super El Nino, we can expect very dry conditions, so it will start to dry out now and into spring, set us up for an early fire season, and then heat waves, and then, of course, extreme fire weather, extreme and catastrophic fire weather. Now, are we looking at a black summer scenario? Not yet, because we've got a lot of moisture still in the soil, but we could get days or even weeks of extreme fire danger.
Greg, I wanted to ask you about that. So we're coming off the back of 3 years of rain. Has that helped the bushfire forecast, or in a way has that made it worse because there's more vegetation to burn?
Well, look, triple La Nina is a double-edged sword. So we've had 3 years of floods and flooding rains. That's kept the bush wet. It's led to prolific growth, so what we call fuel loads are extreme in some areas, particularly in grasslands, and it's stopped us doing hazard reduction burning. It's just been too wet to burn. And what we face the prospect of now is as it swings to El Nino, which is almost certain, we probably will only have a very small window to catch up on 3 years of burning, which is impossible. So it puts us behind the 8 ball.
So you said then we've had a triple La Nina. Does it follow that we could have a triple El Nino and see the build-up of seriously catastrophic bushfire conditions?
Well, this is where the wild card of climate change comes in because we just don't know. So this triple La Nina event, which makes it cooler and wetter, wasn't predicted. And there's some research saying it was the smoke from the Black Summer bushfires. So we don't know. We could get a super El Nino. It could last for years. But that's the trouble. We get these extreme swings under climate change. We've got massive bushfires in Canada at the moment. There's over 500 Australian firefighters over there assisting. Unseasonal. Very strange to have those fires at this time of year. And as you said, the hottest day on record average temperature globally. Last time the global highest was in August in the northern summer. So it's very worrying, and we could see extremes that we've never seen before.
Well, we talk about bushfires. What are the other flow-on effects of El Nino?
Look, a lot of people don't realise that the biggest killer in terms of weather events are heat waves. So with El Nino, we're far more likely to get heat waves, so very high temperatures day and night, where people can't cool down. So the frail, the elderly, the unwell are particularly vulnerable, vulnerable communities. So we need to think about heat waves. The heat waves can then push us into drought, and there's a term flash drought, which has only been recognised in the last 20 years, but very high temperatures leads to a lot of evaporation and you go straight into drought. It doesn't take 2 or 3 years to build up. You're just there, and that's when the fires come.
Greg, thanks so much for your expertise tonight.
Thank you very much.